I'm gonna find an intro or something to come up with. But for right now, it's just gonna be me jumping straight into it and getting straight to this work. So another story time video I could do, because I ain't do one in a little minute. I ain't do one in a long time because I've been building up my base, playing the game, you know. The one thing, before I even get into the video, do what you love to do. Hey, we all have different talents. We all have different stuff we love to do. Do it. I'm telling you, do it. You will never feel like you working for, like, you'll just be at peace and you'll be happy with yourself. I love to play the game because it's therapeutic for me. I love to make people laugh because it's therapeutic for me. And I love to be a form of change and impact in my community because it's therapeutic for me. And in all three of those categories, I do something to that extent, which is the reason why I YouTube now. I play the game on, I live stream the video game, stuff that I do. I run my own mentorship program, Black Man Rising Movement, and I'm authentic, you know, so I can't lose. Like, I play by my own rules and not with rules designed to make people play by. I play by my own rules. I do what Antonio likes to do, and I can't lose doing that, and I'm gonna keep doing that because I'm winning doing that. That's the way for me. But I wanted to do a story time about something, you know, I haven't done one in a long time, and I know I talking about me getting catfish. If you didn't see that, go watch that. People laugh at me and DM me, making fun of me about me being catfish. It's all right. You have no heart. It's okay. Handle your business. Me getting jumped, first time losing my virginity and stuff like that. So as you know, I'm gonna keep the tradition going and keep putting myself out there so people can laugh at me. Well, this one probably is not. This story probably gonna be as funny. Probably some parts of it, but not all of it. But this is my Hurricane Katrina story.
Raindrops falling on the rooftop. Ooh, baby, tell me why'd you have to go? Cause this pain, I feel it won't go away. Mafia. And today,
DJ Pop about to break y'all, break y'all, proper like.
From this heart,
DJ Pop about to feels good. Break y'all, proper like.
So as you know, I'm from New Orleans, born and raised, and Hurricane Katrina is one of the biggest disasters that hit us. You know, Hurricane Katrina was life-changing. But people talk about the Katrina part, but a lot of people don't talk about the after, like, not even, well, you can say after Katrina part, but it's all tied in together, and I kind of want to bring light to what it was like living in different states after Hurricane Katrina, because it was tough. It was real tough. It was real tough. So basically, when Hurricane Katrina hit, I was real young. I had to be like 13 or something like that when Hurricane Katrina hit. And I'll never forget the process of how it happened. The night before Hurricane Katrina, I slept at my cousin's house. I'll never forget, because we stood up all night. My favorite cousin, I love him. You know, we was like playing the game and stuff all night, you know, ribbon and shit. And if you don't know, ribbon means joking, whatever you use, where you from, like joning, I don't know where you from, but that's what ribbon means, because sometimes I use New Orleans lingo, and you know, I don't know where you from. But yeah, so we was up joking all night, and I was waiting for his mama to come home, because his mama gonna bring some Wendy's home, and I was hungry. But I was having fun, and I never forget, I was trying to make him watch Freddy vs. Jason. Now this dude here, bro, this one of the toughest dudes. If you define tough by like being like, you know, don't take no shit from nobody, he was one of the toughest dudes. That nigga did not want to watch no scary movie at all. I mean, he was afraid. That nigga was hard. I'm like, nigga, it's Freddy vs. Jason. They fighting each other. You ain't even no suspense shit. They gonna just, you know, cut it. They trying to fight. He refused. But I slept with my cousin, and the next day, and then usually during hurricane season, they say a hurricane gonna come. Motherfuckers say, oh, there's a hurricane, and they're like, all right. Then that's like a free 2-3 day vacation. You go somewhere, then you go back home and continue life on. So Hurricane Katrina was no different. A lot of people thought this was gonna be a regular hurricane until it hit like category 4 or 5 or whatever it hit, and people, you know, started to leave. And the first place we left, because I wound up meeting up with my family, wanted to meet together before we left, and we went to Mississippi first. And it was just an interesting ass trip. So the first stop was Mississippi. We go to Mississippi and we are stranded pretty much at this church, right? We stranded at this church. Not stranded, but we have to sleep at this church. And so it was cool and stuff. But one thing you gotta know, when you're around your family that much, oh my Jesus. Like, I used to pee on myself. And I remember one night I was up playing, I was trying to play cards or something with the older kids. And one of my family members was like, you need to go to sleep. Because you know you're gonna light that sleeping bag up or something. You know, she said light that up. She said more vulgar language. I was in my sleeping bag crying and stuff. I was just so hurt. Like, why you gonna let the whole, and there was a girl over there I liked too, and she gonna say that. And then the girl know I wet the bed. So now she looking at me, looking down at my, but yeah, so you know, Mississippi was interesting because we was in the church, so we would try to get some sleep. And we'll get woken up out of our sleep because we'll have to go pray, right? Now, I have no issue with prayer and all this, you know, all those things and stuff like that. But that was annoying. That was super annoying because, like, they just, like, at any point just to stop, like, you couldn't get no sleep. Like, they would wake you up and make you go pray. Like, god damn, like, it used to blow me. But we went, when I'm going from Mississippi to Houston, and we was in the Astrodome. We had to sleep that night too, because we had our grandmothers was with us, and one of my grandmothers couldn't travel super long without, you know, being able to get out the car or whatever. So we wound up going to the Astrodome, and that was where I was like, I don't know what the word was. I don't say I'm traumatized. I don't know what it was, but it was a lot of people up in there. And I remember seeing like this. I'll never forget this one image in my head of this old lady. She was just laying there, and like her throat was open, and she had like looked like cotton. Like, I don't know, she was breathing out. Like, it was just a lot. And I was just like, I had to leave right there. And it was just like I couldn't go to sleep. It was tough. And so we wound up going from there, from Houston to Dallas, where we had family at. Now, this is the interesting part I want people to know about leaving New Orleans and then traveling to these different places. We were called refugees. Refugees were the term that was used to, you know, describe people from New Orleans. I didn't know what a refugee was. I didn't know what a refugee meant. But they called us that so much, I thought that's what I was. And so going to Texas, it was just different. Like Dallas, the school system, like not being like, nobody liked us. Nobody liked us from day one. When we went into the schools, they found out we was from New Orleans. The girls liked us. The girls loved us. I had one girl, she used to follow me all around the school. And the boys did not like that. They didn't like that at all. But I'll never forget this teacher, but I don't know what he had against us, people from New Orleans, but he was tough. And I still passed his class. But I remember I did like a project on Hurricane Katrina on New Orleans, right? This is like 2005. Yeah, like, no, this is still 2005. I don't know. I can't, timeline messed up. But yeah, I did a project and he like sniggled, like he giggled. I said sniggled. He giggled and said, "Oh, what you talking about New Orleans for?" He's like, "Oh, he was old. You could tell, old conservative white motherfucker. You talking about New Orleans for? They're underwater." And all the kids in the class was laughing because all the motherfuckers was from Texas, country motherfuckers, and they was laughing and stuff. And I laughed too, but it was like a forced laugh. Like I felt played, but I laughed to laugh it off. But you know, my time away from like New Orleans was hard, you know, for me, because what I didn't want to do was, it was so much going on in my schools, and so many times I was about to get jumped. I was about to get, you know, people were trying to fight me, that I never told my mama, because like this is a new environment for us, and I didn't want to add no more stress to my family. So I used to go to school a lot of times, and they used to always try to jump us, you know, because we was from New Orleans, a group of us. Always tried to jump us for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't know if it was because I don't know what they had against us. I guess they felt like we was on their territory, so they're teaching us a lesson. But they always try to jump us, and They always made fun of her, you know, New Orleans and Hurricane Katrina, water jokes, and all type of stuff. And it was real different. It was very, very different environment. And it was like your survival instincts definitely kicked in because you was always outnumbered. So I had to always watch myself when it came to that. I had to always watch myself when it came to what I did when I was at those schools in Texas, man, because those kids were coming for us. And it also just, you know, the schools were so, in my opinion, just buildings was just so, like, it was a new experience for me because I'm going to school in Texas, man. They got A lunch, B lunch, C lunch. These motherfuckers, like, they got burgers and wrappers, like, you know how you get it from McDonald's or something. And then, like, when you go for breakfast, they got buku different type of cereal. Like, all that was big to me because shit in New Orleans, this shit wasn't like that. It was very basic, you know. It was extremely basic. You know, I was used to the very basic food that New Orleans schools had to offer. And our schools wasn't, well, the schools I went to wasn't big like that. Those schools in Texas, the motherfuckers were like, even the bad schools was huge, like college campuses. You know what I'm saying? Because I went to 2 different schools. But it was a real depressing time to go through because you just have so many people making fun of you from being from a certain place, and not only making fun of you but trying to fight you at the same time. But what it did was it instilled a lot of pride in me to be from New Orleans, and I always told myself, like, I'm gonna make sure I do what I need to do to represent New Orleans to the fullest and as authentically as possible, and to be proud. That's what it did to me at a young age. This made me be extremely proud of where I was from, because at first it was real depressing, especially when the adults was like getting in on it. When you got adults making fun of you from being from somewhere, it just have a different type of feeling to it. Like, it's tough. Like, and then these old white like, you know, like, it's just, yeah, it was a lot to deal with. It was real, you know, a real tough and depressing time, and when, you know, to go through, and then to go back to New Orleans, and that's a whole another story for within itself when I went back to New Orleans after Katrina. But yeah, man, Hurricane Katrina was horrible in the city, and it had effects outside of the city, where you had people who treated you the way they treated you because you was from the city, and it was real hard and very depressing for me. So I think that's when I really just started to fall in love with just like playing video games and stuff like that, and not because it was just, everything was negative. Like, I'm talking about walking home from school I was liable to get jumped just simply because I'm from New Orleans. And there was a couple of times I had like a whole group of dudes and females behind me saying, man, get him. I don't know why they didn't. I always had some size on me, so I don't know. But I used to wait. I used to wait for them to come so I could at least try to get one of them, because they was gonna win. But make sure you leave a like, a comment, and subscribe if you don't have a YouTube. Like, if you don't watch YouTube like that and you're not gonna subscribe, I'm gonna have my social media down there. But I like to hear from everybody else. If you're from New Orleans, what was one thing that stood out about Hurricane Katrina to you? And if you're not from New Orleans and you was from a different place, like, what was you thinking, if you could remember? Like, what was a perception you had about people from New Orleans, or what was something that shocked you about New Orleans, or whatever you can remember from those times during Katrina? Just leave a like and a comment, and we're gonna keep these videos coming. Well, I'm gonna keep them coming. What kind?